I play. Baby, won't you come my way? Come my way.
What's up, friends? I'm Maxwell. Welcome back to my channel. This is Max React. Shout out to Mikey. You asked me to watch a longer documentary about the Bad Boy curse, and I do plan to sit down this week and structure some time so I can do that. But tonight I saw, when I was searching for it, another shorter one that says Diddy and the career seeks Fumbled, the Bad Boy curse. This is by Honest, who I also love. So let's see what he has to say, and I'll make sure I watch that longer video later on in the week.
If you love us, pay us. Not a token investment, not a charity check or donation. The time is now. Radical change is the only option. You're either with us or you are on the other side. Diddy said this in his message to corporate America about the inequality in pay for Black owners on April 8, 2021. Of course, his statement was in more concern with his own businesses, which I have no problem with in itself. Equal compensation should be the standard for everyone in their respective profession. But this statement is rather shocking coming from Diddy, a man who has notoriously fumbled so many artists' careers, including Black artists and creators, the same people who he's championed on to receive equal pay. Well, I think it's past due that he starts taking some of his own advice. And that's not to erase the influence that he has had on hip-hop and R&B. Bad Boy Records is a legendary hip-hop label, and Diddy has been instrumental in so many acts' careers, such as Biggie, Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, and Usher, just to name a few. He has helped push hip-hop forward and really built an empire that stood the test of time, at least culturally. Because as successful as Bad Boy Records was, a lot of his artists had financial problems, public label infighting, and alleged bad record deals. There's no way I could go over every single artist that was failed by Diddy and Bad Boy Records, but I will mention some of the most notorious. No pun intended. Starting with Danity Kane.
Oh, Jesus.
Danity Kane was put together on the popular MTV show Making the Band, a show where they basically round up a bunch of different singers and put them through challenges to see who's best fit for the band. Danity Kane was a result of the third season of Making the Band. The original lineup consisted of 5 members: Aubrey O'Day, Dawn Richard, Shannon Bex, Dee Woods, and Andrea Fimbres. Following the show, they instantly made history, becoming the first girl group to have their first 2 albums debut at #1. They had a top 10 hit called Damaged and seemed to be destined for pop greatness, but their story quickly unraveled as soon as it began. They were put together and catapulted to superstardom, seemingly overnight. Naturally, Danity Kane has some infighting, and Diddy felt some of the egos in the group were becoming too big, and he gradually fired or let go of all the members in the group, besides one member named Dawn Richard, whom he would work on other projects with. It's a bit crazy that Diddy would actually dissolve one of his biggest groups at the time, simply because of infighting. Aubrey O'Day, one of the breakout members from the group, said, "There are many factors and there are many reasons why things started to not work, but the breakup came from his mouth." She also said, "Diddy has mismanaged artists and stolen their money his whole career, including Danity Kane." Now, Danity...
Join the U.S. Capitol Police. It's more than a job. It's an opportunity to protect.
Danity Kane has reunited and broke up a couple of times after being let go of by Diddy, and they release music sporadically. It seems like Danity Kane suffered from some horrible mismanagement and were one of the many acts affected by the Bad Boy curse. Dream, like Danity Kane, was a relatively short-lived girl group. They are mostly known for their #2 2001 single, He Loves You Not. They seem like they were on the track to becoming a Y2K teen pop sensation. According to Complex, less than 8 months after their album dropped, Bad Boy halted the promotion of the LP in the wake of the events that occurred on September 11th. In April of 2002, they lost a member due to the member being dissatisfied with the business surrounding it. They gained a new member for their second album, but their lead single called Crazy flopped, prompting the label to drop Dream from the roster and shelve their follow-up project. Their music didn't seem to appropriately fit them. Members swapped out, and ultimately, they disbanded. Mace. Mace is a now iconic rapper, one of the most noticeable rappers to come from Bad Boy Records. He had multiple multi-platinum albums and even wrote songs for Diddy. He ended up retiring out of the blue to become a minister. There was so much death going on around him, and he just wasn't happy. In 2020, Diddy gave a speech about the unfair circumstances surrounding Black artists at the Grammys, which prompted a response from Maze. Diddy said, in the great words of Erykah Badu, "We are artists and we are sensitive about our stuff. We are passionate. For most of us, this is all we got. This is our only hope." He continued, "Truth be told, hip-hop has never been respected by the Grammys. Black music has never been respected by the Grammys, to the point that it should be. So right now with this current situation, it's not a revelation. This thing been going on, and it's not just going on in music. It's going on in film, it's going on in sports. And for years we've allowed institutions that have never had our best interest at heart to judge us, and that stops right now." This speech caught a ton of backlash online, with many people claiming Diddy has never had the best interest of Black art either.
Well.
It prompted a direct response from Mace. "I heard your Grammy speech about how you are now for the artist and about how the artist must take back control. So I'll be the first to take that initiative. Also, before we ask of other ethnicities to do us right, we should do us as Black people better. Especially the creators. I heard you loud and clear when you said that you are now for the artist. And to that, my response is, if you want to see change, you can make a change today by starting with yourself. Your past business practices have knowingly continued. You have purposefully starved your artists and been extremely unfair to the very artists that helped you attain that Icon Award on the iconic Bad Boy label. For example, you still got my publishing from 24 years ago, which you gave me $20K, which makes me never want to work with you, as any artist wouldn't after you know someone is robbing you and tarnishing your name when you don't want to comply with his horrendous business model. However, people would always ask, what's up with Mace? So I'll be forced to still perform to not look crazy when I was getting peanuts, and the robbery would continue."
Wow.
According to Mace, he offered Diddy $2 million for the publishing rights Diddy paid $20,000 for. But Diddy said that Mace would need to match what a European bidder was offering in order to get his publishing rights back. Otherwise, Mace will have to wait until the rights revert back to him in 8 years.
Damn.
The Logs. The Logs is a famous hip-hop group with members Jadakiss, Sheek Louch, and Styles P all taking a role in rapping. The Logs are mostly known for their debut album Money, Power, and Respect, their appearance on It's All About the Benjamins. The group arguably had the most outspoken beef with the label. According to Billboard, the Logs and Diddy beef started when they pleaded to be dropped from Bad Boy Records through their orchestrated campaign, Free the Logs, Let the Logs Go, t-shirts and all. Eventually Diddy set them free after the public campaign had gained much attraction, and one of the group members, Styles P, allegedly threw a chair at Diddy.
Ooh,
they claimed
shit.
that Diddy owned 50% of their publishing. Diddy later told Hot 97's Angie Martinez that he owned 20% and has made $400,000 off the Logs, according to All Hip Hop. A rep for the group later refuted Diddy's claims with legal documentation, countering his statement.
Wow.
They would go on to settle their beef and money dispute in 2005. Outside of money troubles or alleged shady contracts, there have been a few acts that complained about not being a priority or their career being stalled. The biggest example of that is the First Lady of Bad Boy Records, Faith Evans. Faith is the widow of Biggie and a 90s R&B hitmaker in her own right. How you allow the First Lady of your record label to not be a priority is beyond me. She left Bad Boy after her 2001 album Faithfully received minimal support. The label was changing distributors. My album was sort of neglected. I don't think that's something Diddy intended on. I totally believe he wanted me to be as big as I possibly could, she said. But you got 10 companies instead of 1. He realized he was at a point where he couldn't focus on my project like I needed him to. Whether there's exactly a true bad boy curse or not in terms of something bad always happening to that ex signed to the label, whether that be deaths, arrest, or careers flopping, is questionable. But what is not questionable is the constant complaints that come from acts signed to this once legendary and fruitful label. Diddy has been an essential figure to hip-hop and R&B, but it is incredibly hypocritical for him to demand equal pay and fair treatment for Black artists when he isn't even committed to the idea himself. The call is coming from inside the house, Diddy. The call is coming from inside the house.
Hey, yo. That was a good one, a really, really good one. Like I said, I know the other one is a long video. It's like a hour-long video, and I haven't watched an hour-long video since like the Legends panel, or Got to Be Real days from like 6-7 months ago. But I would love to see a more in-depth breakdown today, especially someone who is a huge fan of a lot of bad boy artists who have either been fumbled, maybe they had some success, maybe they're still out here having success. Y'all know I stand on as a solo artist to the point where sometimes I often forget she was in Danity Kane. Don't forget about Danity Kane because I love themselves as an entity, but then her as herself is just crazy. Crazy. Her career has been so dope to follow for damn almost 10 years. No, actually it's been 10 years now. A whole decade. Damn, you know. But this was a good one, and yes, I do agree that you know, I think the bad boy curse is real for some of them. For others, it's not necessarily a curse as much as there's just not many doors open for them after Bad Boy. So I don't know if curse is the best way to put it. In those words more, it's hard. I don't know, because in a perfect world, with what we see in the music career, with the music industry now, Aubrey should have been signed, Dawn should have been signed, a lot of his acts should have been signed elsewhere. So it makes me wonder, you know, if curse isn't the word, if curse is synonymous with blackballed at this point, or just like, you know, stalled at the door. You can get to the door, meet with the label, but nobody can sign you, nobody can touch you, because I've heard that once before as well. So I'll be interested to see what Black Femininity has in her documentary about it. So I'll watch that later on this week. But let me know your thoughts on this below. Comment, like, subscribe. Until next time.